Hello, 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 wonderful people. I want to welcome you to day 3 of the Vet Your Spending Challenge. I am your host, not only your host, but the creator and the facilitator of the Vet Your Spending Challenge. And it is an honor and a privilege to be before you all for day 3 of our annual Vet Your Spending Challenge, where we are going to be focusing on what did you buy? And for what reason did you buy it? But before we go into our lesson for tonight, I really want to take some time to acknowledge each and every one of you for going through your growth work. You guys have been doing amazing with catching up. You guys have been doing so much in terms of sharing your revelations and sharing your reasons for the season. Let me tell you, I got up so many times last night and I shouted. I got up so many times during my lunch break and I shouted. I got up so many times during my evening before coming on this live stream and saying, praise the Lord for the revelations that you guys have been having. Praise the Lord for your transparency, which you have been sharing throughout this moment. Praise the Lord for what is coming forth for you at the end of this experience. But we are just getting started. Day 1 was a breeze. Day 2 had you thinking a little bit. And day 3 is definitely going to have you thinking a little bit more. But I really want to acknowledge you guys for what you have been doing and your seriousness in approaching this challenge. Because as I've said before, this challenge is for you. This challenge is for you to be able to get the outcome, the desire, the commitment, the goal that you want to be able to receive. If you are with me, let me hear you and see you say in the chat, I'm with you. I want my breakthrough. I want my outcome. I'm willing to continue to commit to the work. I want to see it. I'm committed. Are you committed? I'm committed. I'm committed. So here's what I want us to first talk about before we go into day 3, because we're at day 3 of the Vet Your Spending Challenge. And this is a challenge that we're going to be hosting for the remainder of this month, where we're going to come fireside 30 minutes, a little bit more than that, maybe 30 minutes a night, and talk about the very things that we may not have been privy to as it relates to why we spend in the capacity that we do during the holiday season. So last night's growth work, we entered into the space of identifying what our reason for the season was. And if you did your growth work, just say, I did my growth work. Just go ahead and put that in the comments and say, I did my growth work. And one thing that I learned by going through this myself, because I told you all that I repeat my exercises. So even though I've created this challenge, even though I've designed this curriculum, even though I've handcrafted and developed and created the exercises, the growth work, I still do my own work. And I have to tell you, every single time that I do this challenge, I get a new awareness. I get a new response that ends up coming up for me. So your growth work from yesterday was for you to do what? You had to literally think about your last holiday experience, whatever holiday you wanted to choose. And you then had to ask yourself, what do you remember most about that holiday? And then as you think about what you remember most about the holiday, you had to think about what gets you most excited. And then you had to think about what matters most to you, the presence, which is the presents, or if it's the presence, the presence, which one? So as I did my growth work last night, if I could just be a little bit open with you guys and let you in on my revelations from last night, I realized that the memory that came up for me this time was curiosity. Now you may be wondering, what do you mean by curiosity? What do you mean by curiosity, Sophia? So what I mean by curiosity is this. At my grandmother's house, my grandmother would lock her bedroom door and you couldn't get in the bedroom. She literally used a key to get in and out of her room. And there were moments where around the holiday time, when we got closer to Christmas, it would be in the middle of the day or maybe early in the afternoon, and she would go in her bedroom and lock her door. So we knew when grandma locked her door that she was up to something. Like, what grandma up there doing? So us nosy kids, the grandkids, would try to peek and look through the cracks in the walls or the cracks in the doorway, or try to look through the little peephole to try to see what was grandma in there doing. Because grandma was in there wrapping gifts. Sometimes we would see, sometimes we couldn't really see, but we knew that when grandma went in her room and locked that door so that we couldn't get in, she was up to something. So I remember the times when my grandmother's bedroom, or maybe in different places where they stashed the gifts, that if we got too close to an area where they had something stashed, well, Anna, get away from the closet, get away from the counter, move now. You know, I'm Jamaican, so that's how it out here. Move now. And we would be like, we're just looking for some hair grease. We're just trying to get the comb off the dresser. But we got too close to where grandma had her stash. She didn't want us to see anything that she may have started wrapping or had to wrap. So I would see some things, the gift wrap in the corner. Sometimes it'll be gift wrap over in the corner. There'll be bags of stuff tied up in one corner. And I never had this memory before when I've ever done this exercise. So for me, this time around, my memory was the inquisitiveness, the curiosity, me wondering what grandma got hidden over there. But one thing about me, I never intentionally went to look for it. I was very observant, so I knew grandma got something over there in that corner. But I'm not going to be the disobedient child. I'm not going to be the nosy child to try to go over and see. After this experience, or after me reflecting on this and taking that 15 minutes and writing through those, I asked myself, well, why would they get so like, get away from there? It's because they didn't want to give away the surprise. They didn't want us to see what they might have had for us, even if it was a small thing. And I remember the days on Christmas when I did have something under the tree, and I would be so excited for the thing that I got. But I would also look at what other people got and say, dang, they got a whole lot of better gift than me. Unconsciously or silently, secretly. But then I asked myself, why did my mom or why did my grandma get so heated or get so riled up around the possibility of what they got for us in secret to be revealed prior to the day that it was supposed to be revealed? And I made an instant connection. And I said, the very same thing that they did is the very same thing that I did as an adult when I started buying people gifts. Because what they wanted to preserve was that excitement, that reaction, that love, that feeling of appreciation because of something that was given to them. They wanted to preserve the element of the surprise. And I didn't make this connection until last night, that the very thing that my grandmother was intentions were to do, the very thing that my mom's intention was to do, maybe not around Christmas, but maybe more so around birthdays. My mom, she loved to blow out the candles, or she had to get us a cake. We had to blow out the candles. She's big on the small things. She has to have the cake and the candle, and she has to have a cake and a candle for us to blow out. But even those elements of surprises. And I never realized that, wow, that same feeling that they wanted was the same feeling that I wanted. And that's the same reason why I gave them the capacity that I did. So that was an interesting moment for me in terms of what I remembered most. And another huge revelation that came up for me was whether or not if presents matter most to me. I'm not a huge gift person, as I've shared, that I wasn't really the person who got a lot of things that they wanted. So because my anticipation or my expectation of what I wanted was never really fulfilled, that I never got my hopes up around gifts or Christmas or anything like that. So when I think about presents, meaning gifts or being in someone's physical presence, another thing came up for me where I said that sometimes I don't even like to be around in some cases because it may feel like it can turn into an obligation, or it may feel like it can turn into some form of added burden, whether financially or physically, because we know that people have expectations. People want this, people want you to do this, people want you to do that, and it can be so much for us to bear. And for me, being introverted, being shy, being self-conscious, I have a tendency to retract. I have a tendency to be alone. I have a tendency to be like, okay, I would rather have peace in this moment. So one of the things that came up for me in terms of what I look for in terms of the holidays now going forward, that's peaceful presence. And that's peaceful, Presence. So if I want to be in your space, it needs to be peaceful. It does not need to be an added burden. That was a new thing that came up for me. So if you're wanting to share a little bit of what came up for you, even if it's one word, if you want to share one word of how this exercise made you feel in terms of your growth work for day 2, I would love to see it, and I would love to read it off. When I did my growth work, and the correlation that came up for me, where I realized that the very thing that my mom and my grandmother, that they were trying to do for us to create that moment and that element of surprise, trying to not allow us to see any of the things that they had, and how I realized that I was actually ended up doing the same thing in terms of buying things or getting people gifts to get that same reaction that maybe my grandmother and my parents were expecting for them to be able to get back from all of the grandkids who they purchased things for. I remember the moments when I just went haywire one Christmas. There was one Christmas where I actually spent $5,000 on credit, might I add, for Christmas gifts. And I purchased all of these things on credit in one Christmas season, and all of the things that I bought, honestly and truthfully, a lot of the people who I bought those things for don't even speak to me today. And when I think about how I spent all of that money or charged all of that money, I have to think about what interest accrued on top of that, because I didn't have $5,000 to pay that credit card balance off in full at the end of the statement period. Can I just tell myself, I think I shall? So how many times have you put yourself in a situation where you've purchased things on credit for someone else because maybe you didn't have a financial plan around how you were going to spend and how much you were going to spend? If I think about those moments of when I spent all of that money on that Christmas, and the people who I bought those things for don't even speak to me today, what was the value add of what it was that I had given them in the first place? Because what I bought them didn't even allow them to think about me. It didn't even allow them to still appreciate me. It didn't allow them to even want them to still be in my life. Buying the Helly Hensons, the Ugg boots, the toys, the toy cars, all of this stuff. And it's unfortunate that we go through things where we have relationships that are severed, and sometimes have relationships that cannot be salvaged. And if you could just take a moment to think about all that you might have spent on someone in a season, are they still in your life? Can they pick up the phone and can they call you? Does that thing that you bought them remind them of you? Are they even using it? We won't know. And this even goes back to tying it to the things that we buy for others. Was it really to satisfy them, or was it really to satisfy us? To fill our ego. To fill our ego. November 3rd, the holidays done came. All these sales they flashing got you falling in the game. Everybody got their list of what they want from you, but they don't even know that you got bills that's overdue. That or mortgage payments, which one you gonna choose? trying to please them to fill a void that's deep in you. Ouch! Yeah, I know that hurt, but you gonna hear the truth. That's about me. So gonna make you move. Make you move to shifting wealth to building equity to set your legacy up soon. Huh. Mortgage sign, another liability. But about to flip it to a new wealth possibility. Yeah, purchase it. You gotta purchase it. Hey, purchase it. Don't make me spit these bars on this lesson tonight because you know I will. How many times have we bought things to fill a void within ourselves? I've shared with you guys on many instances that I have severe insecurities. Growing up, I was teased really badly, skinny, nappy headed, wearing hand me downs, too small shoes, passed down clothes, too small clothes, teased. And when I got to the space where I could make my own money, when I got to the space where I actually could begin to charge for those gifts, oh yeah, oh yeah, I needed to feel the love from other people. Because I knew if I showed up with something and I gave them what they wanted, oh, they were going to hug up on me. They were going to love up on me. So it really wasn't for them. It was for the satisfaction of my ego. If you could admit to that, and if you're willing to admit to that, say, I am with you. Here's one thing I want us to think about when it comes to spending. And I've pulled up these statistics where it talks about the top 5 consumer spending events that the average person is expected to spend on. The second to highest was winter holidays, which would, of course, be Thanksgiving, Christmas, and so forth. Back to school, back to college, pretty much the same in the Mother's Day. But we're going to focus on the winter holiday piece. But if you can look at these statistics, you can see right now what is it saying by year of how much folks are expected to spend during the winter holidays. So if you could think about the last holiday that you celebrated, if you could think about the last moment in which you spent for someone, on someone, how much was it? If you think about how you responded or how they responded to what it was that you bought, how did that make you feel? Sometimes we can get those good reactions, like I was expressing about how I knew if I gave a good gift, they were going to love up on me. But there were some times where I probably didn't get the best gift and people didn't expect to get that. It was like, oh, this ain't really what I wanted. So on to the next. And with them not really recognizing the sacrifice that you had to put into to purchase that thing for them, it can end up triggering an insecurity in you because now you equate their response to your level of worthiness. How many times have you might have given a gift and a person didn't respond in the manner in which you thought they would have responded? And that maybe got you angry, or that maybe got you into a position where you said, well, I'm not buying anything else for anybody, or I'm not buying anything else for them, or I'm never doing anything in that magnitude ever. We really want to think about why is that even triggering us in the first place? Because it very well could be related to a personal insecurity that we may not be willing to address. Some of those responses can be eye-opening. Yes, they can. It can be eye-opening. It can also open up and show a level of selfishness that can tend to come up during the holiday season. Because even not even in the holiday season, but even when you think about giving in general, when anyone has an expectation to receive something, they're only thinking about themselves. We stepping on some toes already. I hope you have your steel toe boots on. What I want you guys to do is, number one, ask yourself a couple of questions. What was the last thing that you bought, whether it be for someone else or whether it be for yourself, within the last year, within the last 6 months, within the last 12 months, within the last 18 months, and really revisit to see what do you believe that they've done with that? Have they used it? Have they tossed it? Is it still unopened? Or maybe even did they repurpose it and give it away as a gift to somebody else? Because that very well could happen. So I'm going to share what your growth work assignment is going to be for today, because I think it's important for us to tap into this space of identifying what it is that we've spent, and even if you can remember. So when you're looking at your growth work, I want you to make a list of every single item that you've purchased within the last year, but for one specific holiday. So one specific holiday or one special occasion, either or, because I know there are some folks who may not celebrate the Christmas season. Whatever holiday you want to choose or whatever special occasion you want to choose, you're just going to choose one, but you're going to make a list of every item that you purchased within the last year for one specific holiday. So it has to be a holiday that has occurred within the last 12 months. And when you're looking at that, beside each item, you're going to ask yourself, well, why? Why did I even buy this gift? So you're going to write the core reason why you purchased the item. And you're going to ask yourself a couple of questions. Was it to fill a valid need? Or was it to just meet a want? Or did you just pick it up because it was cute? Or did you just pick it up because you felt like you needed to get somebody something so that you wouldn't show up empty-handed? Come on, I'm telling the truth, because I was in that space before as well, not wanting to show up empty-handed. Or did you just buy something for the sake of you wanting to buy it for yourself, so you buy it for them? I remember a couple of responses from the prior Vet Your Spending challenges where a participant indicated that they realized that the gift that they bought for somebody else, it was actually something that they wanted to buy for themselves, or something that they would buy for themselves. So not even thinking of the person who they're gifting it to. So make the list of why you purchased the item, and really asking yourself the question around, what did this purchase solve? Did it meet a need? Did it fit a void? Was it something to help you overcome an emotional insecurity within yourself? And then once you had an opportunity to look at your responses, then you're going to ask yourself, well, what do you realize now about that particular purchase? What do you realize now, and how can you make the correlation between what you purchased and for what reason you purchased what you purchased? So essentially, we're going to be getting to the why behind your purchase, and not only the why behind your purchase, but the purchase for the actual person who you gifted it to. Because sometimes we have to go through the space of assessing whether or not if that gift was rational, or if it was irrational, or if it was just purchased out of not even valid means. So this is where the fun piece is going to come. For those who are registered for the challenge, you are going to get your first template. So the first template that is going to help you with mapping this out is the what did I buy and why template. And this will allow you, and this will be a fillable form, so you can just type in the list of the item or the name of the item. And then beside each item, you're going to list the core reason why you purchased it. So there's several lines right here on this page for you. So you can be as descriptive as you want. And this is if you want to use a template. You don't have to use a template. If you want to just put it in your journal, if you want to use a spreadsheet, you can do that as well. But for the purposes of giving you guys a model, or giving you guys a placeholder for you to be able to store all of this information in one sheet, your first template is what you're going to be able to receive today. So for the Vet Your Spending Challenge, what did you buy and why? What did you buy and for what? So you're going to choose a holiday, choose a special occasion, and you're going to list every single thing that you bought for that special occasion, and you're going to write down why you purchased it. One occasion or one holiday. So we're not doing everything for the whole year. Just choose one holiday, list that out. And here's why it's powerful for you to do this, because this is going to help you get to the core reason of why you even bought this thing. And it's going to help you uncover if you bought something without a core reason at all. So if you're registered for the Vet Your Spending Challenge, you will be able to receive the first template. It's not too late for you guys to jump in if you want to be able to register for the Vet Your Spending Challenge. Registration will be closing soon. And once you get the recap email, it will include the template for you to be able to utilize. It will also include the replay link to this lesson for the day. And it will also include best ways for you to prepare for tomorrow. Okay, this is so true. I do that a lot and get disappointed when people don't like it. Let's talk about that. You can get disappointed when someone doesn't like what you've given them. But now is the time to tap into that reason why. And we're going to get there. So you don't have to explore that too much tonight. I just want you to focus on what you purchased and why you purchased it. But we're definitely going to tap into that space of getting to what that disappointment does to us. Because oftentimes, like I was saying earlier, that it will end up serving as a trigger, which will cause you to now maybe want to up it a notch. So if they didn't like what you gave them, you're going to try to step your game up. If they didn't like what you gave them, then you may decide to say, okay, I'm going to go all out. And this is another thing too that I want to talk to you guys when it comes to this space of even giving, and even across the board, is being mindful of trying to compete, being mindful of trying to compare, being mindful of trying to outdo, because at the end of the day, that is not serving you or your bank account. You trying to copy, you trying to outdo, you trying to one up somebody, or you trying to outdo what was done in the past. Why? Why is it that that's the energy that will come up for you in that moment? More than likely, it could stem back to an insecurity from childhood, but hopefully, you will continue to come back so that we can address that. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Tracy Ann says, I am pretty intentional with gift buying. I try not to buy somebody something that may go in a drawer. I have to know for sure that what the person likes. You have to know for sure what the person likes. This is so key, and this is totally going to tie into the exercise for tonight with you helping to tie that connection, because now you actually get to test your theory. You actually get to test your theory to see if this was what you bought, what was the core reason why you bought it. And if it was a reason why you bought it and it tied to like what you said, Tracy Ann, in terms of you knowing that that person would like it, later on we're going to find out if they actually use what you got them. Come on, but we ain't going there. That's for a future day. That is for a future day. Other good questions: do they even still have it or use it? How much did they appreciate it? How much did they appreciate it, Q Scott? That's right. Yvette is in the room. Hey, Yvette, no gifts this holiday. No gifts this holiday. Now, and this is, I'm going to share this as well. I'm not saying that we're going through this period where I'm just saying no gifts across the board, but you're definitely going to evaluate. You're definitely going to get to a point where you get to evaluate whether or not if getting a gift or not getting a gift is something that you really want to do. I have so much planned for you all for the remainder of this 30 days. So if you think like you will figure out where we're going, I have so many surprises for you. But yes, this challenge isn't intended to cause you to take like gift giving completely off the table. It's just designed to help you think more thoroughly about it and then design budgets around it. Again, another huge kudos to everyone who has been getting caught up on their work, who has submitted their growth work assignments. I tell you, I was on a high last night. I can't even tell you how excited I was with reading the growth work assignments that have come through. Some came through after my 6 o'clock cutoff, but I'm still going to review them. But just know that every growth work assignment that comes in, I do review it. And it means a lot to see what you guys are uncovering through this process already. So I can only imagine once we get to day 7, 8, 9, day 29, y'all gonna be a whole different set of people. Whew, I'm looking forward to learning so much in this challenge. You will definitely learn a lot in this challenge. I'm so glad you're here, Yvette. So glad that you're here. Get to work. All right. Good night, guys. Thank you. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia